Hi, I'm Grace Plata, and I'm here to equip, empower, and encourage you to help you live your best life. So today I wanted to tell you a story of something that happened when I was 6 years old, but how it applies to you and how it's actually really deep, okay? So when I was about 6 years old, my family moved from Chicago to the suburbs. And at that time I didn't really have anyone telling me what was cool, what was trendy, what made you popular, what made you like a likable person. It was pretty much just me and my little world, having a grand old time to say the least. But when we moved from Chicago to our little town, that's when we started making more friends and older girls our age who kind of like took us under our wing. They were really nice, and they kind of showed us what was cool and trending. But anyway, so we started watching their TV shows and all that stuff. But anyway, on TV, I noticed that there were two types of girls, and this is gonna get really deep, okay? Just hang on with me. But there were two types of girls, and I still kind of cringe at saying their names. They were the girly girl and the tomboy. And the thing about them is that the girly girl was shown as like weak and shallow and unlikable and while where the tomboy was shown as powerful and strong and independent and having authority. And there's just something about that kind of position that makes us as little kids respect that, like Superman, like he's the invincible guy, and we all want to be Superman. We all want to fly. We all want to be superheroes. We all played superheroes as a kid. We all tied a blanket around our necks and jumped off sofas and tables. But anyway, so the thing is that we started watching TV, and then it was about second grade. We were meeting our school teachers for the year, and so I dressed up in one of my dresses because I wanted to look nice. And afterwards, after we met the teachers, we went to the playground, and there was a girl. Sorry, I'm shaking. There we go. And there was a girl a little older than me, and she kind of looked at me, and then she kind of said in a snarky voice, like, "Why are you wearing a dress?" Like it was something I should be embarrassed about. And I don't really remember the rest of it, but I do remember that it did have an impact on me. I realized that in my mind, she had looked at me like I had looked at those weak, frail, shallow girls on TV, the girly girls, where I wanted to be strong and powerful. So as time went on, I pretty much abandoned anything girly. So in fear of anybody looking at me weak, or in fear of being embarrassed again, and that's a really sad thing. But so the big picture is that how often do we change ourselves to conform to what people tell us is good, to conform to what people tell us is cool, to conform to what people tell us looks powerful or beautiful or strong or having authority? How often do we do that? What do we buy? What do we wear? What do we say to give people a place in our lives to just have that kind of authority in our lives to tell us what we're doing right or wrong? Hi, Steve. Excuse me. But another big picture is we wouldn't like doubt we know something if we absolutely for sure knew it. We wouldn't be doubting who we are unless we knew for sure of who we are. But a big thing that's going on, especially with my generation, is that we have to have people tell us who we are. So we don't really fully know who we are. And that's a dangerous thing, because as we're watching the media telling us what's strong and beautiful and powerful, we're not looking in ourselves to know who we are. It wasn't until I started doing Facebook Lives to find what I really liked, to find what I liked talking about. And I would be different around certain people. Like I wouldn't say certain things, I wouldn't act a certain way. I would act a little different around everybody else, because I wasn't really sure who I was and if they would like me if I acted that way around another person and excuse me again, in that way around a different person. So I basically just acted a little different around everybody else. But after I started doing these Facebook Lives, I realized what I like to talk about. I realized kind of who I was a little bit. Not that I'm finding my identity and doing Facebook Lives, but really hearing my voice. They say that when you're trying to build something to just constantly put out content so you really find what you're interested in. I mean, they say like when you're my age, you go and try all these hobbies to find what you're passionate about. So I found what I was passionate about. I found what I was passionate about speaking about so I could find myself. But as I see some of my peers and they're going on, some of them are going down a dark trail where they don't really know who they are. So they're conforming to whatever the media is telling them to conform to. And I think that is really sad. And this isn't supposed to be a depressing message at all. I'm going to encourage you in just a second. Just let me get going. But so what am I trying to tell from all these stories? I'm just trying to say that we don't really know who we are. Some of us don't know who we are until we have someone tell us. But I believe, and I've heard so many times, not just because I heard it, but I know that we don't know who we are until we know whose we are. And as soon as I stopped finding my identity and my passion, and I went through this other time where I didn't really know what I was about. Like I was like nervous for the future because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I find a lot of my friends are feeling the same way. But as soon as I found that my future isn't up to me alone, that I have my Heavenly Father to help me, my gosh, you would not believe me you would not believe me when I would tell you how much that freed me, how much that just let the weight come off my shoulders, where I was just like, again, free to not this isn't just like your typical be yourself kind of message. This is a not find yourself message either. This is like find whose you are and you will know who you are. So as soon as we dig a little deeper, not just on the surface, I mean, there are people who will tell us, who like, oh yeah, like people say, oh Grace, you're so good at that. Oh, or someone tells you, oh, you're so good at that. That's what you should be when you grow up. You don't have to listen to them. You don't have to conform to what they're trying to tell you. You can look deep inside yourself and know that you don't have to agree with what they're telling you. You can do your own, not necessarily your, I guess that makes sense. You can do what you're feeling called to do. Okay, so you're not letting anybody down by finding your own path. In fact, you're empowering yourself to not have anybody tell you what to do. The choice is not necessarily, yeah, it's ours. It's ours. We're a team with our Heavenly Father, and He will show us where He wants us to go. He will show us what our future is. And so that's what I wanted to encourage you at, not with all the problems going on in the world, but all the solutions that our Heavenly Father brings. So thank you so much for listening. I will see you next Friday with another encouraging message. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you next week.